Welcome to the Hot Seat Interview. I'm your host, Maggy Martinez, where we bring Georgia's leaders face to face with questions that matters most to you, the voters. Today, we are talking with Quentin Pullen, candidate for Georgia State House District 68, representing Fayette and Fulton counties. Quentin is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, a local business owner, and the founder of Youth Mentorship Program here in Georgia. We will discuss education, economic growth, public safety, healthcare, and his vision for District 68. We are asking the tough questions so you can make an informed decision. So let's dive in.
Present Starbound Studios starring Maggy Martinez.
Here he is, Quentin Pullen, candidate for Georgia House District 68 that covers Fayetteville and Fulton County. Well, welcome, Quentin, to the Hot Seat Interview.
Thank you for having me, Maggie. It's good to be here.
And this is going to get hot, so just tune in because this is going to get hot. Well, the first question, Quentin, is community engagement.
Yes.
That's so important. Many voters want their voices to be heard.
Absolutely.
That's not happening right now, and you know it. We don't hear the state's rep talking about nothing. I don't see anything in the news. So your campaign slogan is Q for the people. And can you elaborate on what that means to the citizens of Fulton County and Fayetteville?
Absolutely. Q for the people was morphed from my original site, my original slogan. The original slogan was Q the people, which meant it was a play on my name, Quentin. The first letter is Q.
Oh, that's right.
And it was a play by the word Q, C-U-E. Cue the people to get involved, right? That was the first stage, just the people getting involved in politics in their community. And it morphed to Q for the people because I'm just that. You know, people, I am not a politician. I didn't make my bones that way. What I am is a community member.
Well, now you're a politician. We can take that away.
and I don't take anything away from the word, but when you say politician to people in the community, they immediately tune out. Right?
Oh, I see.
And so it is Quentin for the people, meaning that I am one of you. You know, I am a person that lives in this community. I do business in the community. And I want all of the basic needs that everybody else in the community wants. What I'm different with is I'm willing to get out there and fight for the community. So I put my name down to run for office, which a lot of people, you know, they say, I'm not into politics. This is not my thing. I don't want to do that. And they tune out. Well, I'm tuned completely in and I'm actually ready to go to help facilitate those policies and to make our communities better.
And if we don't get involved, look what happened.
Absolutely.
And look what's happening to this nation right now, nationwide. The problem that we have right now, how can people make ends meet? But we'll be talking about, well, you know, don't forget to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. where Quentin Pullen is going to have his premiere. He's going to be live answering your questions and the Hot Seat Interview. Don't forget, and I wrote a book. It's called The Secrets of Campaigning. So you think you could run 40 years of experience. It's only $25 in Amazon. Buy it for your daughters to develop leadership. Buy it for that friend of you that is running for office and they don't know what they're doing. And buy it also for you so you know exactly what a candidate goes through, right, Quentin?
Yes, ma'am. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But it's rewarding when you see the result of it in the community.
That's right. And if you feel it in your heart and you want to make a donation to the show, visit starboundpr.com. Make your donation because we need to buy equipment and we need to, you know, work with everything related to the show. So please make that donation and subscribe to the channel because it's very important for the algorithm of YouTube. Well, your engagement, your future of any community depends on young people. Right now, a lot of young people are not participating in elections. It's very important. So you founded the Fitness Ranch, focusing on youth mentorship. How do you plan to continue supporting youth development?
That I love that question. I myself am a mentor in Fayette County schools. That was a very important thing to me because it parallels what we do for work. What we managed to do is we use our fitness engagement to bring the youth in and give them something to do while they work on their health. My wife is actually an educational tutor. She helps kids in school to get better grades. And so what we did was we paired that educational aspect with the fitness aspect. And we says, we're going to teach the kids in our community how to be healthier and how to be smarter. And so with that, our mentoring program, we do things like the first program that we had, we took our kids to the Fayette County City Hall, and Mayor Johnson mentored them for a day, told them what all the inner workings were for the city and how government worked in the city. And he gave them a pledge to become elected officials when they got old enough. And we had one of the kids in our group, his name is Ozzy. He says, one day I'm going to be the mayor of the city. And I said,
excellent. I love that.
I said, that is absolutely, we're going to actually help foster
His
that.
name is Ozzy?
Ozzy, O-Z-Z-Y.
Keep
yes.
going because
yes.
it's important. And then I'll bring you to the second generation of the
Absolutely, absolutely. But, we stay in contact with the kids that we've mentored through this program. And I'm happy to say that with our program, the kids, when they went back to school after that summer program, they all got into leadership roles. Their grades all
what I'm talking about?
Their grades all improved. And so that was a benefit to what we do. And they got better skills. They got in better shape. So that was a plus.
Oh, wow. Well, diversity is a strength. And you have a district that is divided in 2 counties, different demographics. So how will you bridge divides and promote unity among various communities within your district?
Oh, man, I love this question. We just had this conversation, my wife and I, about a week ago. We were talking about our friends group. And I lived in California for about 30 years. I grew up in Southwest Atlanta. Living in California, our friends group was very diverse. We had diversity in economic status, in race, sexuality, all the things that make up our communities today. And so what we did was we hosted a lot of events. Friendsgiving, because Thanksgiving is coming up. We did various things with our friends group, even vacations, and our friends group was always diverse. And what we would do is have conversations. That is what's missing from our community. We don't have conversations anymore. People will polarize themselves into their belief system and not take into consideration what someone else believes, what makes them tick, what's important to their family. So the first thing that I plan to do, and this is part of my campaign, I don't want to do traditional town halls. You see the politicians get up there and they talk and they talk and they talk. I don't want to talk. I want to listen, because when your mouth is moving, your ears don't work. So what I would like to do is get in our community, let the community dictate to me as a representative what they want to see. I'm doing that right now with my campaign. Is I'm sitting down listening to what people are telling me. I'm taking notes on those things. And it all comes back to this. We have basic human needs,
Basic. Sometimes it's just common sense.
Right? It's just common sense. And that's where, people ask, why do you run for office, right? Well, I have basic needs. Everybody in the community has basic needs, and they're pretty much the same. We just oftentimes disagree how to get there. So instead of us, going to the right or going to the left, why don't we sit down and have a conversation? And those conversations are going to be difficult because we're not going to always believe the same things, and we might have a struggle. But if I can respect what you're saying and you can respect what I'm saying, and we can come to some kind of agreement on here's are the things that we want to see, then that's what we take to our government and say, hey, listen, the people of this community want these things. And I promise you this, there is no difference in Fayetteville or running for state government than there is in running for federal government, because all of those basic needs are exactly the same.
Well, we are talking with Quentin Pullen. He's running for District 68 that encompasses Fayetteville and Fulton County. So check him out on his website. Well, you service both in the military and in business, often shapes leadership style. With your experience as a U.S. Marine Corps veteran and business owner, how do these roles prepare you to serve?
I tell people that leadership was born in me. And why I say that is because as a kid, I remember my father I have two brothers, and my father used to take the Sunday AJC and give us each one of the sections of the newspaper.
Excellent.
And then he would have these discussions with us about what was in the newspaper. He didn't let us just slide by with, I don't know. Well, what is happening in our local government? What is happening in our state government? So I was getting prepared at a young age for this leadership role. I'll tell you a really funny, interesting story. In high school, I was in the JROTC program, and I was in that program throughout high school. And everyone thought I was going to go into the Army, but I selected the Marine Corps. And I remember going to boot camp and being on the bus, and I was so anxious to get off the bus and, start boot camp. I was watching the drill instructors off the bus. Everyone else on the bus was sleeping. And I knew that I needed to get off the bus in a hurry, get into some footsteps, and stand there. And so getting off the bus, they're yelling at everyone. They get to me, and I'm standing at attention, eyes straight ahead. The drill instructor looks me up and down. He goes, "You're squared away. You're going to be our platoon leader." So that leadership that I'd been prepared for as a kid came across to that military side of me. I kept that leadership position throughout my military career. And then it helped me. My parents were also entrepreneurs. They owned a florist shop in College Park. And this is from my youth until my adult time, until my father passed away. So 30 years, my parents had this business in College Park. My father advised me once, he says, if you want true freedom, become an entrepreneur, have your own business. And so as an entrepreneur, you are the CEO, you're the finance person, you're the marketing person.
You look
all
like
the
me.
things, right? You're all the things that it takes to run a successful business.
Yes.
And I'm happy to say this, I've been in my business for over 30 years.
Excellent.
So there has to be something that I'm doing right to be able to, one, pick up my business from California, move that business to Atlanta, start over at zero, and make it successful.
That's a challenge.
Absolutely. And those are qualities that I will bring into this position of being a state representative, that leadership role. And I tell people this, I'm not trying to get elected so I can be a go along, get along candidate or go along, get along representative. I'm going to make waves. And like you say, the hot seat, right?
That's
There's
right.
going to be plenty of hot seats up at that Capitol, that Gold Dome.
Definitely. Well, education, is everything.
Yes.
And what specific policies will you be advocating for?
Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I love controversy. I think our educational system here needs an overhaul.
Yes.
My wife happens to be from Europe. And in Europe, you have to test to go to different levels of school. And what they do is they figure out what your skill set is at a young age, at that junior high school level. So you're testing to get it into schools. So if you're good at mathematics, they're going to put you in a school where other kids are like you. So you're being challenged by kids that are like you, because, the most depressing thing is when you put a kid that's not good at certain things into a school where they're actually having
They get frustrated.
They get frustrated, right? So to keep them from being frustrated and put them on the right career path at the junior high school level, start testing them, see where they can go, see what schools that they belong in, and then put them in that school so that they can thrive. So that's contrary to what we teach now to the standard testing. That doesn't give us a true, accurate picture of what our kids can be. And we force kids into, hey, you're going to go to college, right? Well, if I don't have that skill set and I don't want to go to college, don't force me there, because the only thing I'm going to do is come out of college with debt, So trade school, we have over 4 million jobs in the US, trade jobs that are good paying jobs, union jobs, where kids can go out of high school, go straight into that, and they make good money. So I think our school system needs to be reevaluated, reassessed, and if we are for our kids, we got to be for our kids. We got to set them up with a future that's going to work for them, because our investment in them is going to come back to us by what we see in our communities.
That's the view we need for Georgia school superintendent. So eventually this is something that you could consider once you get elected as a state rep.
Yes, one of my good friends is running for superintendent right now.
Yeah, well, but eventually I think you will be a great candidate for that, because these ideas are what I think all the time. trade school are essential to learn the basics and be out there when you graduate and you're ready to roll. You know, you're ready to get a job. Well, strong local economies create opportunities for everyone. Given your background in business, what strategies do you propose to stimulate local economic growth?
This is perfect. This segue, my neighbor that lives across the street from me has a nonprofit where he helps people. He has an initiative called 1 Million Black Businesses. And what he's trying to do is help by 2030, which is not that far around the corner, help 1 million Black businesses be successful. How is he doing that? He's helping small business owners get the resources that they need to start their businesses or to make sure that they're thriving in business. There's mentorship programs. There's all these kinds of things. And he's not the only one in our state that does that. So what we have to do as elected officials is find the people in our community who do things like this, encourage them to be a part of the governmental system, the community system that invests, helps people invest, find dilapidated buildings that the landlords have just let those places fall apart, and let small businesses have some kind of ownership in those places so that our communities become stronger. Because listen, America was built on the middle class.
That's
they
right.
were built on small businesses. And so far, we become corporate America. Even our governmental system is run by corporations now. So we have to take that power back and start investing in small businesses, things that are going to be community related instead of being, stock related.
Well, access to affordable quality health care, the issue that is right now at the center of Congress, but certainly at the state level, we can implement a better way to give people the access to health care and Medicaid. What is your take about that and how you plan to fight for this, especially with the big, beautiful bill? Because they cut funds, but they're building a beautiful ballroom at the White House that costs $1 and they send money to Argentina when people here are suffering. So what is your take in terms of healthcare for Georgia? So
this position is not a federal position, it's a state position. So we have to be more concerned about our state and even more so about our communities. The beauty of community is that we have so many different skill sets in our community. It used to be a time where we would have community doctors, community clinics, where you can go to a local clinic in your community and get health care. When desperate times come like this, it's important that we lean on our community. So one of the things that we need to get back to is having those doctors in our communities that have their private practices that understand that, hey, you may not have health care, but what can you afford to pay us? If you do have health care, that's a whole different thing. But I believe in a social system that allows for those who are struggling to have health care, because health care is a right. It's not something that should be sold to us at the highest price. And the fact that, my wife, I'm fortunate because I'm a veteran in veterans health care, even though they're starting to play around with that right now. But my wife had to go on the health exchange and get her insurance. She got a notice in the mail saying that her premium was going to double. As a small business owner, for your premium to double. But
this is all related to the big, beautiful bill.
This is all related to that, which, that big, beautiful bill has impacts in the community that the corporations and these government officials don't really see. So this is where I say I'm not a politician, man. I want to make sure that my neighbor is doing well. I want to make sure that the people in my community are doing well. And it all starts with our health. So I am for expansion of Medicaid and Medicare because I believe that if I read my paycheck and it says that I've paid into Medicare and Medicaid, I should be able to take advantage of that.
That's right.
At this, and it's not, we're not asking for too much because like me, I rarely go to the doctor. I rarely have the need to go. I'm a healthy person. I promote healthy living. But for those who need that, let's change our medical system so that they can actually get that. Because here's the other thing. When you feel good, you do good. When you have employees that feel good, they perform better for you in work. So all this stuff loops back to the community and how we have to focus on our communities.
Well, traffic in Fayetteville and Fulton County is terrible. What are your plans in terms of infrastructure for those areas?
Now, this is a beautiful question. I keep on harping back to the fact that, one, I'm not a politician, I'm a business owner, I'm a community member, but two, I have plans for things like this. Fayetteville and Fayette County and Fulton County could not be more different. Fulton County has a mass transit system. Fayette County does not.
No.
Fayette County does not want a mass transit system. Well, not everyone in the county, but so far it hasn't been a priority, so they haven't done it. But here's a plan. There was a city in California, Laguna Beach, and Laguna Beach doesn't have mass transit either. What they were able to do is support entrepreneurship. A person bought some of those double-decker tour buses for Laguna Beach, and what they do is they pay through their city taxes into this bus system, and so the residents get on the bus and they show them their ID. I live at this address. So this is supporting entrepreneurship. Fayette County can actually do this and have those buses take them to the parking rides where the mass transit system is, and they can take people to the city if they work in the city or around the county to places that they need to go. I'm encouraged. I mean, if you've ever driven down through Peachtree City, and that's it, Fayette is trying to connect golf paths so people can have their golf carts and bicycles on the path so that they can have interconnectability in the county
without using your car.
But we still need to be able to get to mass transit. So if we have a job downtown, if we want to go down to a Falcons game or Hawks game.
I usually don't like to go to Atlanta just because of the traffic.
Because of the traffic. So having a system like that, something like that as small as these buses, will allow us to reduce traffic. It'll reduce the wear on our roads. We have to make a concerted effort to invest in infrastructure because our small businesses use that infrastructure.
That's right.
And so if we have good streets, if we have a way to get around, good
and sidewalks,
bike lanes, sidewalks.
Walkability.
My wife and I both, we're fitness people, and one of the things we noticed when we first bought our house, we live in unincorporated Fayette. We bought our house, there's no sidewalks there.
No sidewalks.
You can't go running the street. We've had 4 accidents in our front yard in 4 years of living there.
Oh my God.
And so we have to have a way for the people in our community to get around. And this is what it means. It's like, make that investment. There's grants and things like that for entrepreneurs that would like to do something like a bus system, so make those resources available to people in the community, because those ideas are out there and people will be supported for that.
Well, safety is critical for the community. We need to feel safe. We met each other over there by the No King Parade, which was a success. And be watchful for the next one, because the next one is going to be bigger. How do you intend to collaborate with local law enforcement and community as a state rep?
I ran for mayor in California in 2020. And the first place that I stopped by was a police department. I wanted to stop by the police department because I wanted to know what community policing looked like to them. And the police chief at the time told me, well, we gather and we talk to people in the community. I go, well, that's not always good enough. As a kid here growing up in Atlanta, and this was a full circle moment for me, I was at a church in Jonesboro, and the pastor of that church was the police officer that patrolled my neighborhood.
Look at
He
that.
used to stop and play basketball with us. He remembered my father, Reverend Pullen. He goes, I remember, I've known you since you were a kid. And that's what community policing used to look like. We had people who lived in our local communities who served as police officers. They knew their neighbors. So the propensity for them to take someone to jail who had a drug issue, they knew their neighbors a lot more. So my plan is this: talk to the police chiefs, have them give their officers a charge, go meet 5 people a day, get their phone numbers, create a relationship with them. Because when you have a vested interest in the community that you're serving, you're not just going to go handcuff people and throw them in jail. You're not just going, you might say, hey, look, if you need a ride somewhere, if your person's inside, we'll get you home. We'll get you there safely. It doesn't make any sense to me to have law enforcement officers who don't live in the local community, because they don't have that same interest that I have. I want to see my safe community, but I also want to make sure that the police officers that serve that community are treating us kindly and fairly. The other part is we want to make sure that all of our service industries in our counties have competitive salaries, that they take care of their people so they don't have to go too far away from their communities to find work.
What is your take in terms of housing? Because the rents are skyrocketing. What is in your mind in terms of that?
This is a this is a complex question, and the answer is not always, that solid. This all boils down to how much we make.
Yes.
You hear this thing of affordable housing. The minimum wage in Georgia is $5.15. If you time that times 40, there is no way at the end of a month you have enough to make rent in any place.
Any place.
In Fayette County, Fulton County, Georgia, Kentucky. You have no way of making it when you make $5.15 an hour. And let's just say this. You make $5.15 minimum wage. Now you got to have 2 jobs. Now you got 2 jobs and you got kids. 2 jobs, 8 hours, that's 16 hours you're working a day. Who has the energy after 16 hours a day to come home and then help their kids with their homework?
No time.
Cook a meal, right? And this is why I think by design, you have all these fast food restaurants in
the quality of life is poor.
In poor communities, and they can't afford their rent. And so all this ties back into the public safety part, because desperation creates crime. People who do well don't commit, the harsh crimes that we see in the underserved communities. So affordable housing, pay them a living wage. What a living wage represents is I can afford to live in my community because I'm making enough money to have one job, to be able to buy my groceries, to pay my rent, to pay my utilities, to pay everything that I need. That's what a living wage looks like. So you can have affordable housing that way. Now, affordable housing looks like this, the housing dynamic. There's 3 phases. When you get out of your parents' house, you go to college, you get back home. If you don't go home to your parents' house, you have to rent an apartment, right?
That's right.
Well, then when you start a family, you would need a house, right? Mm-hmm. So your kids can grow up in a nice house in a nice neighborhood when you have a
That's
safe
what
community.
Everybody wants to do.
And once your kids get out of the house and you got an empty nest, if you got a big house and you want to settle and downsize to something smaller, you should be able to afford that no matter what stage you are in life. We have seniors that are living in houses right now that are so big that they don't have a mortgage payment, but they can't afford to go buy something smaller because it's more than a mortgage payment they would have had.
That's right.
Or more than their fixed income.
The system is not working for us.
Affordable living starts with a living wage.
Definitely. Well, looking ahead, what is your long-term vision for District 68? Look at that camera and answer that question and tell people why they should vote for you.
My long-term vision for District 68 is we hear this term of, let's take our country back. We want to take our communities back to a point where we actually talk with each other, where we actually help each other, where we're actually concerned with what our neighbors did and how their livelihood was going to be. I want to make sure that District 68 has programs, has this community togetherness where we can actually thrive better in our communities. I want to make sure that no person is left behind, that children have an opportunity to come back to their communities after they've gone to college or trade school and gotten these skills to take the jobs that are in our community. Make sure that there is something for us to do and a place for us to raise good kids. I think when it comes to our elections, we're sick of politicians. I know I am. I've been involved in this place. I educate myself politically. Even I am sick of this rhetoric by our politicians, these promises of things that they're going to do for us, and we elect them and we re-elect them, and they don't do those things. So a vote for me is not just a vote for a politician, it's a vote for one of your community members that wants the same things that you want. I want a safe community. I want a thriving community. I want to be able to go into my community and do things and not just have to go to Atlanta or other places. And so being in that state house for me is a representation of the people in my community. So when you tell me you would like to see something in government, I'm going to, one, listen to you, and I'm going to do my damnedest to be in that gold dome working for the people. That's what Q for the people means.
Well, thank you, Quentin Pullen, to be on the Hot Seat interview.
It's a pleasure to be here, Maggie. I appreciate you having me.
That's right. Well, we spoke today with Quentin Pullen. He's running for State Representative District 68. Voters now have a clear understanding of his views, what he brings to the table, and how that can benefit you and your family. Don't forget to stay informed. it's important to get involved and vote. Your vote is important. Look what's happening nationwide. Well, I'm Maggie Martinez. You're at the Hot Seat interview. Until next time.